I've been working as a camp counselor for nearly 2 years now. We facilitate all kinds of youth camps, including school camps, church camps, kids' birthday parties, you name it. To me, it's the best job in the world. Our campsite is located on a farm just outside of a small town. It's away from people, and it's entirely off the grid, so we generate our own electricity and filter the farm's water. Over the years, we've built cabins, bathrooms, and a main dining hall, all with our own hands. We're quite proud of our little campsite. The best part is showing the kids the wonders of the outdoors. It's not as comfortable as being in your own house, but it's fun. We get kids off their phones for a few days, and suddenly, they see, hear, and experience all these amazing new things. This is my little slice of paradise. Or rather, it was. I experienced something that slightly changed my perspective of this campsite. Let me start from the beginning. I agreed to facilitate a camp for 24 new high school students, all between 13 and 14 years old. They looked quite unenthusiastic, but I knew I could change that. This group was small enough that I only needed one other camp counselor working with me, so my good friend Robin joined me for the weekend. We had great chemistry together, to the point that sometimes, I believe the two of us have more fun on these camps than the kids do. We go through the regular camp program for the first day and night. Games, songs, and unhealthy food. Great fun. On the second morning, we make a point to wake the kids up super early and continue where we left off. However, the second night is where everything changes. It's time for my absolute favorite camp game. You all will have to follow the lifeline, I announced to the small crowd of bewildered faces. Robin cracks a smile next to me. I explain that the two of us would march the group into an abandoned field somewhere on the farm, in complete darkness, with no torches allowed. Then, once at this location, the kids would have to navigate their way, one by one, through the darkness, following a tight string that had been woven around and through various trees and bushes, forming a course. This string was their lifeline. They would have to follow it or get lost in the dark, all alone. The kids were tentative at first, and begrudgingly left their torches behind, but eventually followed me and Robin away from the campsite, with a quiet excitement about the night activity ahead of them. Every 13-year-old kid secretly enjoys going somewhere spooky, when it's pitch dark outside. I know the route to the lifeline area like the back of my hand, and after about 2 kilometers, or 1.25 miles, of walking, we arrive at an open field, intersected by a small channel with ankle-deep water, which was densely forested on either side. From the outside, walking into the forest looked like walking into a wall of black ink. You simply disappear into the complete and utter darkness. The lifeline will lead you safely through the forest. Each of you will take hold of the lifeline and walk it to the other side. Once everyone is through, we'll head back to camp. I was holding back my smile as I explained this part to the kids, their eyes now wide with the childish fear of the darkness. The string they had to follow would take them through the water and weave them around, and under, various trees. It was only about 80 meters, or 87.5 yards, in total, but it felt like it lasted forever. The darkness and feeling of being alone in the dense forest only seemed to lengthen the experience. But first, the best part. I sat the kids down on the grass near the entrance of the forest, where the lifeline could be seen, tied to a branch on one end and disappearing into the darkness towards the other. With the most serious facial expression and tone of voice I could muster, I told the kids the story of the Owl Man. This strange human-like creature inhabits this forest. It glides from branch to branch, waiting in anticipation for a lost camper to wander too deep into the darkness. Once it catches them all alone, with nobody else around to help, it swoops down and eats them. But not before making this call. I cupped my hands over my mouth and did my best impersonation of a horned owl. I had gotten pretty good at doing that call. The dead silence of the kids confirmed that. While I was embellishing the story of the Owl Man to the kids, Robin snuck into the forest, where he would perch himself in a tree near the middle of the course, and he would make those exact owl noises. It was time to give the kids a good scare. I reassured the kids that, hopefully, nothing bad would happen to them and sent them one by one into the dark forest. Each kid clutched the lifeline tightly, even if some of the boys were acting as if they weren't a bit scared. It wasn't long before I started hearing the first screams near the middle of the course. Some of these were accompanied by swear words, almost all were high-pitched. This truly was a fun experience. I took the shortcut route to the other side of the forest, once I figured all the kids were through. Robin was already there as I arrived, cheerfully laughing together with the kids. They had all been frightened by the same silly story and were comparing their screams of terror, after being jump-scared by Owl Robin. I was about to begin the journey back to camp when one boy interrupted me and told me that he had lost his beanie, somewhere along the lifeline course. Seeing as I knew the course back to front, I sent Robin and the group back to the campsite ahead of me, while I looked for the missing beanie. I entered the lifeline course from the back of the forest and worked my way towards the original entrance. It was pitch dark, and I strained my eyes to see the floor. I didn't want to miss the kid's beanie, so I walked extra slow. After about 15 minutes of meandering through the darkness, I heard a sound that nearly made me jump out of my shoes. I swore out loud, thank goodness none of the kids were around. With that, my fright quickly turned to annoyance. I can't believe I had gotten caught out by the very prank I had made up. It wasn't even that good of an impersonation that time. Robin, what the hell are you still doing in that damn tree? I thought I told you to take the kids back to the campsite. I didn't even have to finish my sentence. I felt my heart drop into my stomach. I watched Robin take the kids the long route around the forested area. He wasn't in here. I was alone. It was off, somehow, but I couldn't put my finger on it. It didn't sound like me or Robin impersonating an owl. It sounded like something was impersonating us. The voice was raspy, strained even, but it didn't sound entirely human, more like those old home videos where cats would speak English words. Except, this was an owl call, and it was growing in volume above me. For the first time on this farm, I was actually scared of what was in the dark. I trembled as I looked up towards the spot where Robin always perched himself. The dim moonlight that broke through the tree line allowed me to make out a faint figure. Its shape resembled a human, somewhat. It was bigger than me, but it hunched over in the tree, like an animal ready to pounce on its prey. Its arms were easily twice the length of its body, and it looked as if it could reach down and grab me where I stood. Its fingers were slender, but long enough that it could probably take me around my waist with one hand. And its face. Oh God, its face. There were only two features. An impossibly wide mouth, like a horizontal slit spanning its whole face, with hundreds of small needle-like teeth. And two giant, round eyes. Bright yellow, like a horned owl. It stared directly at me, making eye contact. Those round, yellow eyes burning themselves into my memory. I felt like it could see my tremendous fear in that moment. I wanted to scream but my body wouldn't allow it. I was frozen in place, paralyzed. This had to be some kind of horrible nightmare, it had to be. The hideous creature slowly started standing up, revealing that it definitely towered over me. Its body clicked and cracked as it stood, as if its bones hadn't moved in a while. Eyes glued to me, it opened its gargantuan mouth wide, like a snake unhinging its jaw, and screamed this time. I can't remember when, but I started sprinting. I was too terrified to think, moving only on the pure basal instinct of fight or flight. I had never run this quickly before, but my feet seemed to know the way, so I was out of the forest in no time. I didn't stop or look back, I didn't need a second look. I never wanted to see that monster again. Not long after, my lungs started burning but my legs kept going. I didn't dare slow down until I reached the campsite. I collapsed onto the ground once I reached the familiar surroundings of the dining hall and cabins, my once peaceful paradise. My mind was whirling. That couldn't have been real. But I saw it. I tried convincing myself that it was just a hallucination. After all, I'd made the owl man up, hadn't I? Even so, I couldn't get the image of its horrifying teeth out of my mind. And those eyes. Bro? How did you get here before us? Robin broke my train of thought. He was just now arriving with the kids from the other side of the campsite, opposite from where I ran. Did you find the beanie? I didn't dare speak about what just happened. We simply put the kids to bed in their cabins and walked towards our own. My mind was still racing. I didn't know whether I could believe my own eyes. Maybe it was just the utter darkness and feeling of being alone that made me see something that was impossible. It wasn't long before my thoughts were once again interrupted. I realized that I had never experienced true terror until that moment. I quickly turned to Robin to see that he had a gleeful smile on his face. The kind that kids have when they see something cool. "Dude, look." Robin pointed towards a horned owl that was perched atop the dining hall. "I can't believe we actually have one on the campsite. That owl call you make is spot on too." I know my call is pretty accurate. I had copied it from the owls I'd heard living on the farm. This one, however, still gave me the impression that it was copying me instead. Mocking me, even. It watched us all the way to our cabin, where I ended up writing this post instead of sleeping. All night, it kept its eyes on us through our little cabin window. No. It kept its eyes on me. Direct eye contact. With its round, yellow eyes,